Hello everyone. Today this video lesson is going to cover the objectives that what is fuel, combustion of the fuel, hydrogen oxygen fuel cell and hydrogen gas as being used as a fuel. So this lesson is going to cover all these objectives, an explanation about these topics and the past papers related questions. Let's start it. Okay, starting from the introduction, as the first objective says that we are going to talk about the fuels. So first of all, we'll know what fuels are. Fuel is anything that we burn to produce heat energy so that we can use that heat energy to carry our daily activities like cooking, like running our automobiles and running the factories, industries. So what basically happens chemically to the fuel when they are burned or they undergo combustion? The process of burning fuel produces heat energy along with carbon dioxide and water. That completely depends which type of fuel we are using. Like if we are using carbon as a fuel, then as you can see on the screen, that it reacts with the oxygen to produce carbon dioxide gas along with the production of heat. So that heat is basically used to run our daily activities that depends upon the combustion of the fuel. So the product is carbon dioxide when carbon is used as a fuel. If we are using excessive amount of oxygen, then carbon dioxide is the product. But if limited supply of oxygen is used, then carbon monoxide is produced. We are going to speak about it further. If methane is used as a fuel and it is undergoing combustion, then carbon dioxide and water is produced along with the production of heat energy. And at the end, we are going to talk about how hydrogen can be used as a fuel. It is going to be the future fuel of our world, our universe. Yes, we are going to talk about this fuel at the end of the lecture. So watch this lecture video till the end to understand everything about fuels, the combustions, the products, the advantages and disadvantages of using these fuels. As you can see, and we have already talked about it, the carbon dioxide is a byproduct when we are using carbon as a fuel in the form of coal or in the form of petrol So carbon dioxide is a product when we are using coal as a fuel and excessive amount of oxygen is used. If limited amount of oxygen is used, then what happens? We are getting carbon monoxide. As you can see here, that hydrocarbons, when not getting enough oxygen to burn, then they produce carbon monoxide, which is of course very poisonous as compared to carbon dioxide. No doubt carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Even that is poisonous. That is causing pollution. But carbon monoxide is even more dangerous because we are going to talk about in other video about it, that how most probably maybe in the topics where I'll teach you guys about the environmental chemistry, air pollution and all that. So we are going to discuss about the harmful effects of carbon monoxide in that video. For now, we just need to focus on that when carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide is produced, when we are having the excessive and limited supply of oxygen respectively. So our main focus in today's lecture is on the hydrogen oxygen fuel cell, its construction, its working, its equations, explanation, everything. So get set and let's go. Okay, fuel cell. It's quite a complicated topic for the students, but I'll try to make it easier for you through my explanation and the slides I've selected. So let's start talking about it. As you can see on the screen, the construction of the fuel cell consists of all these compartments and the electrodes. Here you can see the cursor where it's rolling. So in this compartment, we are having hydrogen gas. As the name shows, it's a hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. So here in this compartment, you will find hydrogen. Here you will find oxygen. And here is an electrolyte. We are going to talk about it later. So right now I have kept it simple to make it understandable. So these are the porous graphite electrodes. And one is connected, one is acting as an anode, the other is acting as a cathode. So what happens here? The negative electrode is anode. So what's happening actually? As you can see through the arrows, when hydrogen is provided as a fuel, it enters through this compartment, this opening, and what happens? It loses its electron. Here, it's just like you are going through a scan. Okay, if you consider this hydrogen is you with some luggage and you want to check in the airport, so what happens? Your luggage is being scanned and you leave your luggage at the scanner and then you go through some other scanner because you can't take your luggage through the scanner, human scanner. So what they do, they take your luggage to scan it through the luggage scanner. So what happens? It's same like hydrogen has given its luggage here. These luggage are electron. So when hydrogen has lost its electron, it has become the proton, positively charged ion, hydrogen ion. So what happens? These electrons will travel through the wire. Here, of course, we know that the movement of the electron is electricity. So electricity is produced. So this fuel, hydrogen, has produced electricity. Here a bulb is connected, so this bulb will start glowing as the electron will flow through the wire because these electrons are traveling through this wire and coming to the electrode cathode. So these protons entering in this compartment are now ready to take electrons. So these hydrogen ions will go to the cathode to take the electron, and in the meantime, from here, as you can see, oxygen is coming. Okay, the oxygen will enter through this opening and this oxygen is going to react with the hydrogen as hydrogen has taken the electron now. So it is converting into water. As you can see here in the equations, hydrogen is losing electron and becoming proton. Right? So these ions move through this porous electrode and accepting electron, and acceptance of the electron is reduction, gain of electron is reduction. So this oxygen is taking that proton, which is in turn taking electron, and water is being produced. So the overall reaction you are going to observe in this cell is the production of water. Right? So let's see when some electrolyte, I'm going to include the electrolyte here. I have kept this simple to make it understandable. So this is what is happening when in a dry fuel cell, right? When hydrogen and oxygen is being used. So this is how hydrogen travels here, gives the electron, this electron travels through the wire. It comes to cathode and then here the proton are coming, taking the electron and reacting with the oxygen and producing water which goes out here. Now let's make it a little more one step ahead. Let's move. It's almost the same. That hydrogen is coming, giving away its electron, becoming proton, going to the cathode, oxygen is coming from here, oxygen is given by the air, and then these three these three species, proton, electron, and oxygen is reacting, producing water, and it's going up. And see, heat is produced, and this heat is actually the chemical heat is produced here, and the electron flow is producing electricity, so chemical energy is being converted to the electrical energy. Okay, now we have included the electrolyte here. Now any alkali, as an alkaline fuel cell, any alkali which can give hydroxyl ions are used here. So what is happening? Hydrogen is coming here through the porous container. It is passing, getting scanned. Electrons are being left here as a luggage. So electrons are traveling through the wire and coming to the cathode, and here what happens? Here the hydroxyl ions are present by the electrolyte. So this electrolyte is providing hydroxyl ion. Now what is happening? These hydrogen proton, which are giving the protons, are now reacting with hydroxyl ion and producing water. right? So this is one step ahead, that how electrolyte is being involved in working of this fuel cell. Let's make it a little more complicated. Now I have included the electrolyte, which is potassium hydroxide. So this potassium hydroxide, when it ionizes, I have kept everything same: hydrogen, oxygen, electrons, and I have included electrolyte, which is potassium hydroxide. So these oxidation and reduction reactions are occurring at anode and cathode respectively. So this hydrogen is coming, giving away electron, becoming proton. Now the hydroxyl ion given by the electrolyte is taken by hydrogen and becoming water and giving away electron. So at cathode, what is happening? Oxygen is coming from this side, from this opening to the cathode. Water is being produced here by the combination of proton and hydroxide ion, and electron at the cathode. They all are combining together to produce hydroxyl ion. So these hydroxyl ions are being used and produced again and again until all the hydrogen and oxygen is being used, right? So this is the overall reactions at the half cell reactions at anode and cathode, that how hydroxyl ions provided by the electrolyte are used by hydrogen, how they are producing water, and how this water is being used by the oxygen and the electron given by the anode to the cathode traveling, and then they are all combining and produces again hydroxyl ion. So these hydroxyl ions are available all the time here for the hydrogen until it's being all used. So this was all about that how you can understand these half cell reactions, because many students find it difficult to understand these equations. So I've tried to make it very simple and easier. I hope you understand. So let's move further to meet our next objective, which was to use hydrogen as a fuel. Hydrogen as a fuel. So yes, whatever you are looking at the slide is hydrogen, the fuel of the future. Yes, why? The reason is hydrogen is renewable source of energy. Hydrogen on combustion with oxygen produces water. And it is a renewable source of energy. It is available all the time. As you know that all the fossil fuels are running short with the passage of time, because their resources and the reservoirs of fossil fuels are limited. It takes millions and millions of years for these fossil fuels to be made. So they are depleting on a very faster rate. So scientists and chemists are trying to find out the alternative source of energy to be used as a fuel. So hydrogen is one of the options. So how and why not we should use hydrogen or opt for hydrogen as a fuel? Let's discuss it. As I've already told you that hydrogen on combustion with oxygen produces water. So that is the most important benefit of using hydrogen as a fuel, because water is a harmless byproduct of burning hydrogen as a fuel. Moreover, it is renewable, it is environmental friendly, it is readily available, and the very important advantage of using hydrogen as a fuel, that if you're taking equal amount of hydrogen and carbon and and both the fuels you are burning, then what happens? Hydrogen is producing double the amount of energy and heat to carry out your daily activities. So if you are burning a little amount of hydrogen and it is giving you as much energy as burning the double the amount of carbon, so of course hydrogen is very beneficial for that. So it is very efficient fuel. It is renewable, as I've already told you, that it produces by the electrolysis of water. So you get hydrogen and oxygen, and then when you are using hydrogen as a fuel with oxygen, you're again getting water. So this is how this will be recycled, and the cycle goes on and on and on. So this is a renewable source of energy. So writing the advantages of hydrogen fuel cell in the past papers, as we observed the question that why we should use hydrogen as a fuel, why not we should use hydrogen as a fuel. So these can be the points that can be written in the paper as an answer. Is that it is environmental friendly, it produces water as a byproduct which is not causing pollution, then it is a very efficient source of energy, and it is renewable. So these are the bullet points you can note down, and then you can write and use it as your answer in the CIE's exam. Right. So what are the disadvantages of using hydrogen? The first most disadvantage I'll explain is it is produced by the electrolysis of water, and we know that electrolysis is an expensive process. So using hydrogen is very, very expensive. It is very difficult to store, as we know that difficult to handle gases. Rather than solids and liquids, if we want to transport it over the water or to other countries across the borders. So it is very difficult to transport gases. So for its storage and transport, it is difficult, expensive as well. Producing hydrogen is expensive by electrolysis. Moreover, we need to use pure fuel, hydrogen as a fuel if we want to use it in the fuel cell. So even that is making it more expensive. Then talking about its storage, we have already talked about. It's difficult to store. Yes, flammability. Hydrogen is very flammable. Like if a little amount of heat is provided, then it can undergo explosions, and it is very difficult. So special precautions must be taken in the storage and transport of this gas hydrogen. And obtaining hydrogen from electrolysis is expensive. So these are the bullet points out of which you can easily include and write as your answer in the in your exam answer sheet. And yes, this was all about, and let's review today's topic. In today's topic, I'm going to the objective slide. So we know that we have met all the objectives. Yeah. We talked about the fuel. What is fuel? How it is used to produce heat energy? What byproducts are formed? Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and water. Then we talked about the working of hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell, its construction, the half-cell equations at cathode and anode. And then we discussed the use of hydrogen as a fuel and its advantages and disadvantages. Hope this video is going to help you in understanding and in attempting the past paper questions. If you have any queries, please write in your comments in the comment section. I'm going to look into that and answer your questions. And hopefully I'm going to see you again with a more easier explanation of the difficult topics. Thank you so much. I'll see you again.